by the time he died, a month short of his 30th birthday, Francis Ledwidge had had 3 bitter years of learning about war. And here is another contradiction in his life. Nothing, not a line, not a word in all the poems that he wrote during those years reflects anything of war. Out of the most cruel battles that men have ever fought, he wrote of the countryside of County Meath, of summer and gentleness, and the wind blowing like cat's paws across a field of corn.
The primrose and the daffodil surprise the valleys, and wild thyme is sweet on every little hill when lambs come down at folding time. In every wild place now is heard the magpie's noisy house, and through the mingled tunes of many a bird, the ruffled wood dove's gentle coo. Sweet by the river's noisy brink, the water lily bursts her crown. The kingfisher comes down to drink like rainbow jewels falling down. And when the blue and grey entwine, the daisy shuts her golden eye, and peace wraps all those hills of mine, safe in my dearest memory.
Here was the wellspring of all his poetry, the grey, quiet village of Slane in County Meath, where he was born in this cottage in August 1887, the 7th child of a farm labourer and a servant girl. His father died when he was 3 years old, and mere poverty became bitter hardship. And yet, in this bleak schoolhouse, he learned to love poetry, learned the magic of words, of writing. And while he was still a child, he began putting together the 2 things that he knew: rich words out of books, and the small, infinitely humble things out of the fields that were his whole material world, and making up stories to tell his mother, and tell as he grew older, the stories became poems.
And I, who am a thought of God's, now long forgotten in his mind, and desolate with other dreams long over, as a gate singing upon the wind the anvil song, sang of the spring when first he dreamt of me in that old town, all hills and signs that creak, and he remembered me as something far in old imaginations, something weak with distance, like a little sparkling star drowned in the lavender of evening sea.
All through Francis Ledwidge's life, there runs this complete contradiction between what he wrote and what he did. As a very young man, he was an active nationalist. He was also an active trade unionist at a time when trade unionism was a revolutionary idea in Ireland. He was deep in every kind of local politics. He was full of the revival of the language, and none of this appears in his poetry. Not a word, not a syllable. Before he was 20, he organized a strike in this copper mine in Beauparc, fighting for human treatment for the miners, lost his job over it, very nearly starved, and healed his soul with poetry like this.
For sometimes the thought comes that the brown tomb is not the end of all our labourings, but we are born once more of wind and rain to sow the world with harvest young and strong, that men may live by men till the stars wane and still sweet music fill the blackbird's song. Despair sometimes takes hold of me, but yet I hope to hope the old hope in the better times, when I am free to cast aside the rope that binds me to all sadness, till my rhymes cry like lost birds.
That poetry out of this simplicity, this poverty, a simplicity of life that today it is almost impossible to imagine. It seems to come like birdsong out of a winter tree. There is no bird, no hiding place for a bird, and yet there is singing. This house, this school, this poet.